Hi, my name is Ciara Morales, and this is my interview with a dual language learner educator. To introduce a little bit about what I'm going to be doing here is that I'm going to be interviewing one very experienced early childhood education professional, my mom, Kelly, who is a bilingual speaker and a curriculum specialist of 30 years at the Paramount Unified School District. I plan to interview my mom in hopes of learning more about how I can focus on these different topics, such as family and community engagement, culturally responsive practice, language and literacy development, and social and emotional learning in the classroom or clinic, and how I can improve and gain more knowledge from the perspective of other ECE professionals. The first step that I took in order to create this interview was to create a list of questions using class assignments and classwork to inspire the questions and how they can impact ECE professionals. The second thing that I did to kick the project into gear was to text my mom and email my mom to confirm that she was able to take on this interview as she's a busy woman. Luckily, I was able to take on the interview and I was able to ask her the questions that I formed using my resources, and I was able to gain a lot more knowledge on the topics that I was hoping to learn about. As it is seen on this slide, you can see pictures of my notes that I took, which entail the questions, the answers, and my main takeaways. And on the slide, you are able to observe my little question image, and you are able to see that I did this via Google Docs and that I provided a link in order for whoever wanted to access it can. Something new that I did in terms of learning was actually writing my main takeaway from all of the answers. So, essentially, analyzing each answer and using a main takeaway to summarize what I believe the answer and the response to each question is. And I think it is extremely helpful because it helps me form my own feelings and confirm my thoughts and my knowledge on what I was learning in class. As an example of this question, the question that I chose as an example was, how do you engage families in sharing insights about their child's home language, life, and cultural practices? To this question, my mom answered, I've seen other teachers, including myself, who have invited parents to become partners with teachers to create a space for culturally diverse students. School events, such as back to school nights, cultural school events, and parent conferences, are used as a strategy to build a partnership and collaboration with parents in order to see how students' home lives, languages, and cultures can be included in their classroom. An example was when you were a kid, your dad and I brought Spanish tapas to your classmates to try for your fit-a-thon, which was like a marathon event for my school when I was a child. So that was just a personal takeaway from that. My key takeaway from my mom's answer was that in order to engage families, I can invite them to share different cultural aspects such as stories, photos, and routines that may reflect their home, their culture, or their language with their child, and their child can later expand on the topics in the classroom and share with the class. I learned that also different events such as back to school nights, different cultural events, classroom or school potlucks, family interviews, or even parent conferences can allow families to share traditions and learning practices with the teacher in order to form a partnership. I later used the Partnering with Families of DLL's guide to help me realize what I wanted to do in a classroom with my ability to be a dual language learner teacher or a bilingual teacher who can speak Spanish with younger students. I want to prioritize open communication with parents because I think it is essentially critical to have children use their language at home, and you invite parents to suggest different ways that we can support both language development in the classroom and at home, and that parental collaboration also ensures their child's identity and learning are supported consistently between two different spaces. Something new that I learned. Honestly, I've learned so much from my mom over the years, and being able to discuss my schoolwork with her gives me so much insight on different topics relevant to dual language learners and bilingual learners and multilingual students. And I'm able to discuss different strategies with her that can help me improve development in a classroom or clinic or at home just by collaborating with parents in different caregiving teams or special teams that might help a child reach their goal. Something that really shocked me was the fact that I learned that teachers actually can have bias towards certain things or people. And I think it's really surprising because in my opinion, if you are an early childhood education professional, a teacher, a therapist, or any caregiver of any sort, that why would you have any bias is my question. I understand that some people actually can have bias, but I believe that EC professionals are people who are supposed to create a safe and nurturing and judgment-free space for students. Something else that I learned actually came from another class, and it taught me that it is an educator's responsibility to have a culturally responsive or diverse library in their ECE space. And this class currently teaches me how I can use my diverse library to help dual language learners, while the other one taught me how to build one. I really do believe that this experience actually caused me to have new questions for the ECE community. And some of these questions are, in what ways other than videotaping or recording or taking notes can we record data while observing children's behaviors? What school age would understand these concepts more in depth? And if not, how can we make it more friendly or age appropriate for children who might not be able to grasp the concepts spoken about in a meaningful manner? And how can we make these concepts more accessible to ECE professionals? I used a YouTube video linked in this presentation to help me look for more answers to the questions and confirm answers from questions that I had asked in my interview, and I honestly thought it was extremely helpful. So I'm really glad that I was able to do this project because it taught me a lot and it taught me on how to do proper research. Thank you for your time.